This episode is brought to you by Sean, Fernando, and Julia, this week's newest patrons. We've been doing these price point episodes for a while now, and you guys seem to really like them, which is super cool. It makes me want to make more of them. Largely, though, we've governed our choices of boats in each price point to a pretty specific criteria. We've had a checklist, so to speak, as to which boats we're actually going to look at. We wanted something like a cruising boat that you could actually live on, or at least spend extended periods of time on, and something that was well suited to the Caribbean, where most people seem to want to go. Also, something not huge. It had to be small enough that a single couple could sort of handle it on their own, and something that was comfortable and safe. Now that criteria guided us really well, but now we're getting into some big bucks, and now it's going to lead us down some separate paths that I'm actually really excited to explore with you guys. I know which boat I would buy for like 120 grand, for example, because that's actually pretty easy as a decision. But what if you wanted to spend a little bit more? What if your budget allowed for some wildly different options? This week on Everything You Need to Know, the $170,000 Sailboat. Now, you guys know I'm a huge Sparkman Stevens fanboy, and for good reason, I think, anyway. When that name is mentioned on a design, you know it's going to be something sort of special, and I can say that because I actually own one. So it would be no surprise to you guys that the first boat we're going to look at today is one of theirs. Side note, Sparkman Stevens designed those little floating hulls that they used in the war to storm the beaches. These things. Yeah, that's a Sparkman Stevens. And if I've sort of been stuck on these 42-foot boats because I can single-hand them, this one is going to get me way out of my comfort zone, more than my grade 8 graduation boy-girl dance comfort zone. This is the Swan 57, and like anything S&S designed, she's a looker. This Goliath 57-footer comes in at an ocean pushing out of the way 50,000 pounds. 50,000 pounds of muscle that'll smash through waves on your passages, while her rig of no less than 72 feet tall powers you along. And that rig is a catch rig in this version of this boat, so you'll be able to balance the helm. That'll make your life a lot easier. This gorgeous example of the Swan 57 sports a very Caribbean-friendly shoal keel, but with a centerboard that you can actually lower down to 9 feet below the waterline. So you won't actually lose that much in the way of upwind performance if that's the kind of stuff that you're into like I am. And inside, beautifully crafted woodwork that looks like it's been extremely well cared for. And this is an older boat. And that white upholstery everywhere. And I think it gives it a very clean and very luxurious look. This boat is a 1980, and honestly, I can't tell. It feels more like a brand new luxury yacht. It's aging a lot better than I am. You get that blue water U-shaped galley. Now, when I say that's a blue water feature, it's because a U-shaped tight galley allows you to sort of butt your hip up against the countertop. And when you're cooking, you probably have your hands full. I usually do. And if the boat bucks or moves or heels the other way, your hip can leave that countertop right to the other side countertop. So you never really fall over. It's a lot safer. And in that galley, you get this bougie 4-burner stove, which will allow you to feed all the guests that you can house in your 3 private staterooms, with additional crew quarters and berths up front for the extra people that sort of sleep over when they've had too much rum. Comfort isn't all it's about here either. This is a Sparkman Stevens boat. She's been fitted with carbon fiber spars, including both masts, both booms, and the spinnaker pole, and it has updated rod rigging to sort of keep everything in place. It also comes with a generator, air conditioning, and water maker, and a life raft. It really does look like you can just sort of buy this thing and head out into the wild immediately, and you're sure to be a showstopper wherever you decide to anchor it. I hate to see the travel lift bill, because this is a big, heavy boat, but I think it's worth it if you can afford to actually own it. Okay, so what if all the Sparkman and Stevens-ness of it all was not exactly what you're looking for? You want something maybe a bit newer, a bit more modern design, and you really like the idea of having lots of windows to let the sun shine into your cabin and less wood to sort of darken it all up. If that's the case, you might be interested in what 170 grand buys you in the big plastic bleach bottle boat market. I heard it referred to as bleach bottle boats, and I thought that was funny. We of course mean production boats. This then is the more modern Hunter, but it's a center cockpit. This is the Hunter 45cc. And big is the word that comes to mind here. For a 45 though, they come in on the light side at just 23,000 pounds. Now, production boat doesn't mean that it won't keep you safe and comfortable, but more than that, they weren't really designed to cross an ocean. That's not to say that you can't cross an ocean and it hasn't been done, but I'd rather be on the Swan if I have to do that sort of thing. But if it's not for the ocean, what is this boat for? Well, it's for island hopping in the Caribbean, of course, so you get all that Caribbean goodness that you might want to keep you comfortable and enjoying all the snorkeling and spearfishing that you can do with a walk-through transom and a sugar scoop to get you out of the water, leading to a huge, well-protected center cockpit. And center cockpits tend to be for people who have kids or pets, because it provides a nice, safe place in the middle of the boat for them to hang out with a lot less risk of falling overboard or getting tangled up in the rigging or something. They also give you a great place for a full enclosure. When you fully enclose a center cockpit, it's amazing, and it gives you the ability to make use of that extra space regardless of the weather. You also get dinghy davits here, because when you're island hopping and launching the rib every single day, as you will, trust me, this just makes life livable. And atop of those davits, of course, some solar panels to keep the blender running and the ice cold. Now, being a hunter, of course, you have to be okay with the B&R rig. And I did an episode on that, and I should probably do another one, but the B&R rig has no backstay, which frees up space at the back of the boat, but it limits your ability to put the main out very far on the downwind runs because the spreaders are raked back to make up for the lack of a backstay. But you do get an in-mast furling because it is a B&R rig. And that furls the main away, so you'll be more likely to want to use the main more often. You might actually get more use out of this rig because it's a B&R rig. Inside this boat, we get the prime number one uncontested reason that anybody buys a Caribbean island hopper in the first place. You get space, livable space that feels a lot less dark, like a cave, inside than a normal sailboat. And it's very well appointed, like a downtown condo, and it just happens to be able to sail itself from tropical paradise to tropical paradise. This is what these boats were designed to do. Take it or leave it, hate it or love it. It will take you to all the beautiful places without sacrificing the livability that stops some people from getting on sailboats. You get absolute luxury and comfort without having to rent a hotel room everywhere you go. And the captain's chair at the nav desk, look at that thing. Need I say more? But there is more. Show your spouse this master stateroom with ensuite. I dare you to. This stateroom is bordering on ridiculous of size and space. This is better than my bedroom at home. Wait a minute. This is my bedroom at home. Now, I know there are a lot of reservations about production boats, and for some good reasons, but discounting them or writing them off because they weren't designed to cross the ocean is like discounting the Ford Focus because it wasn't designed to plow snow, or the Jeep Wrangler because it wasn't designed to stop eating its own ball joints all the time. It just isn't fair. Lady K Sailing is brought to you by patrons, people who give a couple of bucks an episode to make this whole channel possible, and a big thank you to all the patrons who have gotten us this far and continue to help us. If you'd like to help out the channel, please consider becoming a patron. Okay, so what if you like the idea of the center cockpit with the in-mast furling and the B&R rig and everything in the space that the Hunter had, but you also like the old world feel of the Swan and the world traveler sort of aspect to it, and you wish there was something that could do both, or sort of meet in the middle. This next boat might be just that, and we're getting back down into the lower 40-something foot range, which will actually be easier to live with. This 27,000 pound heavyweight is all the old world solid glass tough guy boat that you might love. And it's a Bristol, so it's going to be made very, very well. And it gives you the Caribbean friendly 4.5 foot draft that you want if you're going to go to the Bahamas or the Florida Keys, with a centerboard that you can drop, and this one gives you 10 feet below the waterline. And being another center cockpit, you get the safety from falling overboard for you or your kids or your pets. And you get a great location, of course, for that full enclosure. And this one has been updated fairly well. It has the in-mast furling, it has radar, it has a nice Dodger that actually matches the boat very well. The Dodger isn't an eyesore, and sometimes that's hard to pull off. Inside, other than the clutter everywhere in these pictures, maybe they could have tidied up a little bit, and the picture of one of the bathrooms that's clearly being installed in the boat sideways, we do get a really nice roomy boat. This is the 2-cabin, 2-head layout. Again, one of the heads, though, is installed wrong. It's on its side, so it'd be hard to use. However, we get that aft cabin with the walk-around berth. And if you and your significant other have ever shared a boat bed, you'll appreciate how nice it is to be able to actually get in and out of bed on either side without clambering over each other at 3 o'clock in the morning. The galley is really nice too, with a spacious layout, and everything looks to be in fairly good shape judging by the pictures and the description of this boat. And it's a Bristol. It's going to be a very heavily built boat, and the feeling under your feet when you walk around inside a boat like this, it's almost like being on land. It's that sturdy. Now I have to say, this Bristol probably wouldn't be my pick for 170 grand. I think for what it is and sort of the older equipment on it, it isn't necessarily a good deal with what they're asking. But a good eye and a solid survey, you might be able to get the owner down to a more reasonable price. Side note, I get asked a lot for help from people who are in the boat shopping process right now, and with so many requests to keep track of, I devoted a page on Lady K's website where you can go and book an hour of my time if you think that you need me. It's ladyksailing.com/consults. Another side note, and this one's a boat that I'm going to show you. Now, I wouldn't buy this boat because of where it is and how it looks and the ridiculous price tag, but it certainly bears mentioning because some of you are definitely going to want to know that this boat is sitting where it is. This is the legendary Island Packet 40, which is actually 42 feet, and what's more to say other than it's an Island Packet. It's obviously sitting on the hard right now, and it's in Grenada, and it looks like it needs a whole lot of elbow grease to sort of freshen it up and clean it. But if you can manage to talk some price sense into this broker or owner, this is one of the best cruising boats that's ever been made, by all accounts, anybody you ask. And I see these things go for, now mind you, in operating condition, which this one doesn't seem to be, for about 150 grand, and they're worth every cent of 150 grand. Now, I point this boat out for two reasons. First, because I secretly hope someone sees this and realizes that while they do have an example of one of the darlings of the cruising community, it isn't a top-tier $170,000 example. And second, I hope that one of you interested in owning one of these finds out more about this boat and shares it with us in the comments. Why is it so expensive? And have you been able to talk them down at all? How long has it really been sitting on the hard in this field? Does it run? Does it sail? Please let us know in the comments if you figure anything out about this boat. The last boat I want to talk about today is for people who consider themselves the gentlemen and proper ladies of sailing. Someone who wants to sail into the anchorage and wouldn't possibly do so with the engine running because it would just be distasteful. Someone who wants a sailboat that is the epitome of class. A boat that rocks up 45 minutes late to the gala, wearing a tuxedo, driving an Aston Martin, sipping a martini. This, then, is certainly the boat for you. This is Blossom, and she's a 1972 Hinckley 40 Mark III yawl. That's Sir Hinckley 40 Mark III yawl to you, sir. Hinckley is known throughout the sailing realm as old world luxury meets truly go-anywhere ability, but doing so with top-notch style and presence. And this example doesn't disappoint, not even in the slightest. Ruining the lines of a boat like this with something like a gaudy sugar scoop would be unthinkable. Dorade vents should be almost sterling silver and polished to a blinding shine so you can't even see over the deck of this boat. This is a boat that you sail with pride of ownership, but also with confidence in its ability to circle the planet anytime you feel the whim. As is correct with this boat, you won't find a speck of rust or a blemish in the stainless anywhere bow to stern, and as a Hinckley owner, you'll be expected to continue this upkeep, but the effort is not wasted. Anywhere you moor this boat, you are going to draw a crowd. This one is even tastefully adorned with modern electronics, and it's done in a nice way, and it has recent updates to make it an actual viable cruising option. Although the cabin space leaves a lot to be desired, this is a 70s boat after all, as compared to its grandchildren, the modern cruising boats of today. Hinckley knew what they were doing with these boats, and I would more than half expect it to come with matching whiskey tumblers and brandy glasses, as well as maybe a cigar humidor somewhere near the chart table. And it'll be called a chart table, it won't be called a nav station. I love an old Hinckley and everything about them, and this one is certainly worth every penny of their asking price. And while I personally wouldn't want to go cruising on one, we do have to respect this brand and what they did for sailing. Hinckley raised the bar on safety and quality construction and comfort and luxury, and they made it possible for pretty much anybody to circumnavigate without sort of a master's degree in sailing, because the boat is actually that good, and you can do all those things while looking good and really appreciating what fine craftsmanship is in boat building. That's it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video and comment below. I'd love to hear, what would you buy for 170 grand? What would you buy for 180? Because we got another episode next week. And what do you think of that Hinckley? Is it all that pretty? I love it. And if you'd like to chat, we're usually up late. I'm talking on the Lady K Discord channel. I'll leave a link in the description. Until then, I will see you guys next week.